Get ready to fight from within. You're about to go behind enemy lines.
Roger, 3-2. Goliath copies all. Go ahead. Target is surrounded by multiple firms entering what appears to be a residential area. Requesting permission to engage.
From the People's Republic of New York City, you're now going behind enemy lines with Gene Baradelli and Russ Gallo. And you are now behind enemy line. Hey there, how you doing, America? Gene Baradelli here with you. So glad you be with us, whether you're joining us at www.behindenemylinesradio.us, or if you're checking us out on AM radio, FM radio, the internet radio, whatever the case may be, or if we're traveling along with you as a podcast. We're happy to be with you tonight. Great show this week. Russ Gallo in the house. How you doing, bro?
What's going down, bro?
Oh, there's so much going down. First of all, did you invest in Bitcoin at all this week?
You know what's crazy? I did not. I looked at it years ago. And I thought it looked like really suspicious, and I just couldn't imagine it ever taking off. And now, who knew? Look at it. It took off.
Well, let me tell you. I knew. I invested a whole $2 about a year ago. And, no, you laugh, but that $2 is now $70.
Now, how insane is that? Just imagine if you put something substantial into it. That is crazy.
I know. I'm kicking myself right now. So I put a little more in this week, and I'm happy to say it's all still growing. My money is still more than double. And, you know, I'm thrilled with it. I'm going to hold on to it for a while. Take this for a ride. Why not?
But who are you using to buy this Bitcoin? Like,
I am not advertising whatsoever in my finances or what's going on here.
I'm just curious because I wanted to get into this myself, but then I heard it was hard to unload the stuff once you have it.
I'll tell you this. There's a couple of places you can go to. One is called Airbits, which is an app that has a Bitcoin wallet. The other is Coinbase. Which I've been using recently, where you're able to buy and sell not only Bitcoin but Ethereum and Litecoin as well.
Oh, geez. So, see, Gene, I know we weren't planning on talking about this, but this is actually a very interesting topic.
It's cool stuff, man.
I mean, the guy I was speaking to says you could basically buy and sell this stuff anonymously, and they don't pay taxes on the stuff. So, like, how is that? How could you do this? Like, how could it be anonymous? And I don't understand any of this.
You know what? I don't know either. Let's get a guest on. And we'll talk about that in the coming weeks.
We should definitely do this, because even mining for Bitcoins, like, what the hell does that mean? I don't get it.
I got a couple of guys we can line up, and I'll see if I can get that set up in the coming weeks.
All right, good.
But, you know, I just wanted to bring it up as a little teaser, because I know that you love to do some of the trading and stuff, so just let you know that I'm taking it for a ride. Anyway, speaking of taking it for a ride, the Alabama Senate vote is coming up this week, the special election between Roy Moore, the Republican, and Doug Jones, the Democrat down there. It's turned into a lot more than just Republican and Democrat, Russ, in this race. This race is, dare I say, saucy. A lot going on here.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely out of control, and dare I say, Roy Moore and the things he was accused of may have been what actually led to the eventual downfall of Al Franken. So no matter what happens in this race, I have to, like, appreciate that at least.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people haven't been under a rock. If they're listening to this show, you got to be a little bit of a political wonk. You got to know what's going on with Roy Moore. But the developments in the past week, I have to say, Russ, really show, at least to me, how dumb Democrats can be and how they overplay their hand to the hilt. A couple of pieces of breaking. First of all, before we get to the news that broke this week, as we look at Real Clear Politics, the RPC average in the polls right now, even after everything that's been going on, Roy Moore plus 3.8%. And that has grown since last week.
It's unbelievable.
It boggles the mind.
People would say only in Alabama, but where are we at now with these accusations? Because I'm reading on Drudge that, I know you hate when I advertise, but I'm reading on Drudge that the guy basically disappeared off the campaign trail, speaking of Roy Moore.
Well, and wouldn't you, if you're up and you have all these allegations going on?
Yeah, but I'm curious, so what is the latest? I mean, has any one of these accusations been substantiated? I mean, what is happening? Well,
the latest news on allegations are not substantiation. It's actually calling into question one of them. I believe her name was Beverly Young. I have to check on the name on that. I'm not sure about the name. But the one who had Roy Moore's signature in the yearbook that had the whole press conference with Gloria Allred.
Yeah, that they were going to get a handwriting expert or something like that.
Exactly. She has now admitted on ABC News, in an interview with ABC News, that some of the handwriting around the signature is not Roy Moore's. It's actually hers that she added in. Specifically, and most importantly, the date and the location of where it was signed. That, just, from a legal perspective, calls into question the validity of that date. And if the date is called into question, the whole story may have to be called into question, Russ.
Wow.
That's a big development.
Listen, I'm torn on this whole thing. I don't know how you deal with these types of things. I mean, I don't think that accusations alone should warrant someone dropping out of a race. I don't know. Because we would set a horrible precedent there if we did that. We've seen incumbents on trial run for office and win, and then use their office as a bargaining chip to get a better plea. But then on the flip side of this, Gene, and this is where I feel like we lose a lot of the arguments as Republicans and conservatives. We just accept the premise of the other side's argument. Because the deeper question to me is, what exactly is Roy Moore being accused of? Maybe let's just start there in this conversation real quick.
Okay, in my opinion, he's being accused of weirdness. That's what he's being accused of.
Because I was going to say, just like Donald Trump and the Russian collusion, what is the underlying crime here? Now, I haven't heard the rape word thrown around, so he's not being accused of rape. So what is he? I mean, in Alabama, back in the day, whenever Roy Moore was a young man, I don't even know what the statutory rape, the age of legal consent would have been back then. Now, am I saying it's a cool thing for a 30-year-old man to go out with 14 or 15-year-old girls? I'm absolutely not saying that. By the way, he's never admitted to any of that anyway. But I'm curious. I don't even know what the age of consent is there. I noticed that the news conveniently leaves that little factoid out of every report.
Well, and the reason why they leave it out, Russ, is because it's not a crime. Because he's not going to get accused of a crime, because I don't believe that anything he did is a crime. I mean, listen, you want to say it's a crime against humanity? You want to say that it's immoral? You want to say that it's objectionable? I'm with you. 100%. Absolutely. But it's not a criminal action that would, compared to, I don't know, Michael Grimm hiring the illegals in his restaurant. But at the same time...
Or Al Franken, touching women while they were asleep, groping them.
And admitting to it. There's the difference
on camera. Jeez, yes. I mean, if you listen to what these women were accusing Roy Moore of, so basically, if you believe all of them, he's basically spent every single day while he was a 30-year-old man in a diner and a mall. Those were the two places he spent every day chasing young women.
And you know what? You can question that character and let a voter question that character. I'm cool with that. That enters into your vote. Go for it. But the problem I have with this whole situation is this has been what I like to call trial by media. There has been no verification of evidence. There's been no authentication of evidence. And we're now finding out that at least one accuser has, I don't want to say doctored, but has misled people as to the validity of the evidence that she wanted to present in her trial by press conference with Gloria Allred. And what this does is this hurts every other accuser out there and maybe stops them from coming out and saying, well, if I'm going to get treated like this, I better have my P's and Q's straight and all that. But more importantly, it gives all the Roy Moore supporters something to hang their hat on. They can now go to the voting booth with a clear conscience somewhat, if that's your thing. But you can now go there and say, well, this accuser's not really telling the truth because she changed the date or whatever. When Breitbart says, possible fraud when it comes to this accuser's accusations and doesn't elaborate on what the fraud may be, the headline readers get to hang their head on that and they can go to the polls. And that's why Roy Moore probably is going up in the polls right now, Russ.
But Gene, I'm writing these words down as you're saying them. You use the word tampering, fraud, accuser, evidence, trial. Even though it was in different contexts, in the usage of some of those words, it all would make you believe that this man committed or was being accused of committing some type of crime. And I mean, these are the words being thrown around every day in the media, and there is no underlying crime here. I'm still waiting. What did Donald Trump do as far as collusion with Russia? What did Roy Moore do as far as whatever they're accusing him of? I don't get it. We're besmirching people's characters in this country now without any real crimes. I mean, I don't get it.
That's exactly what's going on. We've become an accusation nation. Nobody judges slowly anymore. It's something that I say all the time on social media. We never judge slowly. We don't wait for a case to develop. We don't wait for the evidence to be presented competently. We jump to the nearest media conclusion. Media is going to tell us what they want us to think on these issues, especially with an election coming around.
Oh, especially when it's a Republican. Let's be honest.
Absolutely right. Now, by the way, here's what's being missing from the news that you may or may not be hearing. I saw one internet report where a racist flyer is being circulated in support of Doug Jones. And, this is basically the one-trick donkey, the Democrats doing their thing. The flyer says, with a black male on the flyer, think if a black man went after high school girls, anyone would try to make him a senator? ?
Wow.
That flyer is being circulated by the Jones campaign.
So the Democrats put their two major issues. The only thing they're missing now is some homophobia. They got the war on women, they got the minority, and now they need a little homophobia thrown in, and they hit the trifecta of the Democratic playbook.
Absolutely. They pulled that one Allen Bandit, and they got the 777 across the board there on that one, didn't they? No, but seriously, isn't it enough to say that he likes to have sex with teenagers? Isn't that enough to say? You gotta go into black communities now and try to rile them up and say, well, if this was a black man, imagine what would be going on. In fact, Russ, it's had the opposite effect.
I would hope so.
Yeah, many voters are seeing this now, and they're saying, what the hell is this? You lost my vote.
We used to like to do the segments where I would get all riled up and I'd speak directly to the black audience that we have.
I wish we'd continue that. Can we do that again?
Remember, I used to tell them, wake up. Do you know the Democrats are using you as, fools? You guys are useful idiots for the most part when you block vote Democrat. What do they have to do? Make a fake racist flyer and all of a sudden the blacks are going to come out en masse and vote against Roy Moore? Look how foolish they think you people are. Stop it. And yeah, I said you people. Grow up. You block vote 90 to 95% Democrat. Yes, that's called a group. You call yourselves a community. It is what it is. You people.
But you know what, Russ? The Democratic Party is showing that not only do they have no tricks in their playbook, they're doing the same things over and over again, but they're showing that their leadership can be just as prejudiced as what they think Republicans are. They have to go back and they have to play that card all the time. It's gotten to the point where Democrats, the Democrat Party now, I'll say it, is the party of trash. They have nothing to offer as far as constructive opinion. What are they doing with Roy Moore? They basically had handed to them the greatest election gift you could ever be given. Sexual transgressions alleged by multiple people from both sides of the aisle. And they've somehow screwed it up to the point now the guy that's been accused of multiple claims of misconduct, or whatever you want to call it, is now back on a path to victory in this race, which is going to be voted on later this week. It boggles the mind.
Gene, the question I have, though, is was it given to them? Was it given to the Democrats, or was this whole thing manufactured?
Oh, it had to be given to them because it was after the whole primary election that they had the special election. It was only after this guy was certified to be the candidate and there was no turning back and they had to go with him that all this stuff came out. It didn't come out.
Well, that's what
summer.
I mean. I think that this might be manufactured. Why didn't it come out during the primary? If these women so strongly felt that Roy Moore should not be a United States Senator, why did they wait until after the primary? It just doesn't make any sense, Gene. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm not blaming the victim. I'm not even sure if there is a victim here. What is the crime? A victim of what? I don't understand. A lot of the women that I've seen on TV accusing Roy Moore of anything all said it was consensual stuff, but they felt like they were being taken advantage of by an older man. Okay. That's not a crime, last time I checked, unless it is a crime in Alabama. I don't know what the age – like I said, the news is doing a terrible job of telling us what the legal age of consent is in that state, or was during that time period.
Well, you realize the argument against you, Russ, would be how dare you do legal semantics at a time like this when young women who are still developing are being taken advantage of by this predator older man. You bring in the whole, biochemistry aspect of it. Is a woman at 15, 16, is their brain fully functional? Do they understand exactly what's going on here? And is this older man taking advantage of someone young?
Well, as a 30-year-old man, is his brain fully functional yet? Or is he still thinking with some other part of his anatomy?
But this is where I come back to him and say, well, that's why we have to talk about the legal argument, because the law is supposed to be protecting those people. And if the law in Alabama was lacking at the time, I'm sorry, I can't blame a person for breaking a thought crime that you think is bad that I don't think is bad. And
I know it sounds terrible. Like, some women are going to listen to this and be like, I can't believe these guys are saying
bunch of chauvinists.
You have to think where men are coming from on this thing. I hate to be the guy to defend the guy like Bill Cosby or Matt Lauer, but let's be for real for a minute. a lot of the women who are accusing those two guys also, like, their stories just don't make much sense. Like, I remember the Bill Cosby ones. Now, if he did in fact drug these women,